welcome to my workshop, and welcome to this CNC Router build of the QueenAnt Pro V2, and this is the super enhanced version, which is the one to get. So the first thing you need to do is get all your C rails for your gantry, which is over there, and both the Y C rails and the inserts as well. I'm going to do mine slightly different to what you may see others build. I'm looking at this as a engineering build for strength. So rather than assemble the linear square rail on the peak of the C there, like you see others doing, and I believe it says that in the manual, turn it on its back. Turn it on its back that way, and we are going to put the square linear rails on the back of the C rail. I'll bring you in a bit closer in a minute, and I'll show you the easiest way to do that. So, out of the kit, I've got the 4 M4s. Okay, they're cap head screws, so they're M4 by 14 millimeters, and there's 131 of those. And of course the sliding T-nuts, which are M4s as well. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting all the rails on, and the easiest way to do that, I'll fetch you in a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. You only need minimal tools to build this. The minimum requirement you'd need is a set of metric Allen wrenches, preferably the ball end type, so you've got some movement. I've got some specialities here, which I use to assist me. These are Allen wrenches that you can put in like a ratchet screwdriver, or indeed a motorized screwdriver. Don't go using an impact wrench, because these are only small screws. They're fairly good quality, alright, but you've got to be a little bit sensible about it. These are 4 millimeter, and you go straining with an impact wrench or something like that, you're just going to strip them. So what we're going to do is, it's a bit fiddly, it's going to take a little time, is I'm just going to show you a couple, put them in here like this, hold it like this. I'll just zoom you in so you can see what I'm doing. I'll try and get rid of most of the glare that I can. So all you've really got to do is, when you're nearly 70, you're sort of all fingers and thumbs, is just put it on there, just give it a one turn, that's all it needs, and go all the way down, just putting them in one turn like that, just so it's on there. And you do that the full length of your linear rails. Now I won't. Whoop. Just making sure that this is only on one single turn. That's all that's required. Just a reminder: there is a right and a wrong way to put these on. If you notice, there's a shape there. There's a cutout there and a cutout there. That actually fits inside the slot of the C-beam, so that needs to go towards the rail. Okay, like this. Okay, so I'll continue all the way along. They've provided a little tool to actually put the linear square rail on here, nice and, I suppose, square or in a measured area. And there's 3 of them. So what they do, there's like a key. There's a key so far down it. And all you actually do is pop them on there like that, and they snap into place like that. So you put one on the end, one in the middle, and one down the other end. So that key goes in the low, farthest away from where you're putting the rail. Each gauge block comes with a screw and a T-nut. You may have to press quite hard on this to actually pop this into the rail, and then get the T-nut and little screw and just nip it up to make sure that this is absolutely flush and firm in there. So you do that in 3 areas, right? So you do it on each end and the center of the rail with these gauge blocks, and then we can pull the linear square rail up to the gauge block and then tighten it up. Okay, so you just catch out of the linear square rail and pull it up so it touches the gauge block nice and firm, like so. Making sure we got that millimeter gap on the end, and we'll tighten that one up. Tighten the middle one up, pulling up and in. And then the end one. And then tighten up all the fasteners in between. And you repeat that process on the other side of the rail, and then check it for squareness. I do it with a vernier gauge, and you'll find by using these gauge blocks in the fashion that I've just described, there's no need to use the bearings and the axes themselves to tighten up each individual side. Alright, so by the time you finish screwing the linear square rails on, you should have 1, 2, 3 C-sections or 3 beams with 2 linear square rails on, and the other one just has 1. Okay. Now this is the x-axis of the gantry. We're going to put that together a little bit later. So what I'm going to do is assemble the chassis part first, which incorporates 2 of these C-beams which are the Y axes. They're stiffeners. So these three pieces here, like I say, are the X axes or the gantry, and we're going to put those aside and just build the chassis part of it and get that nice and square, and then we'll build everything onto that. To start building the chassis up, the components you'll need are the, well, what is called the double L brackets, but it's just an L bracket with some holes in, and some corner brackets, 5mm T-nuts, and 5mm by 8 low profile screws. And you also need to fairly accurately break up or mark these measurements along the Y axis, because you're going to be putting these brackets in certain locations to attach the cross bracing. And what I've worked out is that your first mark up here needs to be 245, then 490, and of course there's going to be one on each end as well, making a total of 5 cross bracing fixtures. So what you need to do then is put 8 of these in each slot and face the center part there where you see it's slightly raised, face it down. So with your L brackets, you'll notice that the holes are offset on one side. You need to ensure that this part actually bolts onto the chassis member or the Y-axis member, and that the centrally drilled holes is going to be facing the cross beam. So loosely place the brackets on. You want to be able to slide these around just to get it exactly right. So this particular one here goes on your line mark there. Okay, that can actually be nipped up. Not too tight, just nip it up. So you can still just move it and put all the rest on in that fashion. So when you've got all the brackets on, it should look something like this. And take this outer one. You'll notice that the linear square rails are facing each other. So you need to put that one over there, because they need to be facing outwards. And I'm just bringing this to the edge of the bench here. So I've sort of got something square. Okay. I've got a square edge to actually work off. So what you'll find with your cross bracing, 2 of them have threaded holes and the rest are blank holes. So the threaded hole, ones with the threaded holes, put on the outside. Okay, so like this one will go here, and the other threaded one with threaded holes will go on the other end. So we'll space this out a little bit. So what we need to do now is put, for this end and the far end, we need to put 4 T-nuts in the lower groove. There's 2 for each end. Oh, that's upside down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take those up there. Okay, so the end ones only require 4. So we put this on here. Just rest it on there for a moment or two, and we'll load up the one for the other end. Just nip them firm for now, and we'll line everything up when we've actually got all these rails just on there. Okay, now I've got the 2 end cross braces on, and they're just nipped firm, that's all. It's a good idea to check for squareness. Now, the easiest way to do that is just put halfway along the tang of this. Alright, just put on the tip or the corner there, and then sight it down through. And in this case, this is 1348. So that's 1,348 millimeters, and this should be close to this being the same. That's actually 1,349. It's close enough at the moment. Okay, it's close enough at the moment. I'm not going to clamp it down there or anything like that. I'm going to put the other 3 on now, the intermediate ones, and just nip them firm but not tight, and then we'll check it for squareness again. It's preferable to check it now at this stage as you're built. This is the chassis. Everything else now depends, the squareness of the machine now depends on what you do when you build this. If this is square and accurate, then the rest of the build is going to be square and accurate. I should also say that when you position the 2 end ones onto the y-axis, or on the underside of the y-axis, it needs to be flush with the end, and actually flush with the end of this. That will give you the right distance then for the gantry when you want to put that on. So when you have your chassis members all built, which includes the 5 cross pieces and the 2 C-section Y pieces, make sure that it is absolutely square at that time, when you've assembled it all, then tighten it all up. Then recheck it for square. And if you need to make any adjustments then's the time to do it. So when you've done that process, the last process then is to put all these corner pieces in. Now I'll zoom you in a bit and I'll show you how to put those in. So to put the corner stiffening brackets in, you need 10 of the brackets. You need 20 of the 5mm low profile hex screws that are 8mm long, and you need 20 of the 5mm T nuts. Okay, so you need to put 5 of these T nuts in. Okay, next one's a little bit more fiddly. What you need to do is, we need to get one in here, so you need to put one in through the back side here, and then just get a screwdriver or something like that and just push it through until it appears about there. And now we can put our corner bracket in. Like that. Put the one through there like that, and just don't tighten it up, leave it slack. Line it up and just pop that one in. Now this is an exact fit, okay, so it's exactly flush on there. Okay, so just nip that down slightly and tighten this one up. And that's what you do to the 9 remaining corners. So after every stage you should check to make sure that it has stayed square, and in this case it's all perfectly square. So that is the main chassis made for this QueenAnt Pro Super Enhance, or should I say version 2 Super Enhance. So I'm going to keep these videos shorter than I normally would. So I've decided to build this QueenAnt CNC Router in sectional videos. So we'll call this video 1 of the construction, and that would be building the chassis. This is my preferred way of this QueenAnt build. Some other builders may have different ideas about it, but to me as an engineer, starting with a nice square chassis and then building up from that, that is the most logical way to me to build this QueenAnt Pro version 2 Super Enhance. So I hope you join me for the next video, where we build both y-axes and the gantry, and actually in place the gantry as well. So if you've liked this video today, please like and subscribe, and if you would like to support my channel and become a patron, patron information is below this video in the video description area, as well as a direct link to this QueenAnt Pro manufactured by Yuyong Industries. So bye for now.